Good morning, everybody. I would like to start off by saying that I did get some actual rest last night. I didn't stay up all night having hangouts, and I actually went to bed at a pretty decent time, so I am happy for that. On a different note, this particular video that I'm making today is going to be a response video to an individual that I wanted to respond to, and I would like to thank Agent of Doubt for giving me this idea and providing me with the video, and it's something that I am really interested in. Now, initially, this particular video was going to be a long video. I wanted to include as much detail as possible, but I sat back and I thought about it for a minute, and I eventually determined that this woman doesn't deserve a long response. So I'm basically going to reply to a few things that she said in her video as quick as possible because I think that's all she deserves, to be honest with you guys. So I hope that you guys can enjoy this video, and let's get started. Okay, the Patriot Nurse, it seems to me that you're talking about same-sex marriage in your entire video. So I'm going to take this opportunity to respond to a couple of things that you have said. The first thing that I would like to mention from your video is the fact that you mentioned that we have experienced a fairly unprecedented level of societal and cultural change. And I wouldn't necessarily agree with you on that because we have experienced things similar to this before. You know, back in the day, people thought that it was completely necessary to own African Americans as slaves while simultaneously waving their Bible high in the sky because you know what? That Christian Bible of yours does promote slavery. Eventually, society thought that it was inappropriate for these types of things to happen, and eventually they moved forward by abolishing slavery. Now, back in the day as well, there were individuals that thought that it was necessary to basically think that African Americans didn't deserve the same rights that everybody else has. You know, they made African Americans drink from separate water fountains. They made African Americans use separate bathrooms. They made African Americans eat in separate restaurants. Now, eventually, again, society thought that this type of thing was basically inappropriate and that it didn't need to happen. African Americans fought long and hard for the rights that they rightfully deserved because, in all actuality, they are human beings too. Now, when it comes to the LGBT community, they have fought long and hard for the rights that they rightfully deserve, such as marriage equality. And it's something that you're going to have to get used to, whether you like it or not. Christianity did not invent marriage, and it does not own it either. In your video, you mentioned that it was a change mandated from the bench of our highest courts, and I have to agree with you because you see, civil rights are very important. So when an individual thinks that it's appropriate to prevent a same-sex couple from getting married, what they are actually doing is violating the Constitution of the United States. One of the things that bothers me the most about you is the fact that you seem to be living in this fantasy world when you say that marriage equality is civil disobedience. And that's simply not the case. Marriage equality is an opportunity for everyone to have an equal chance to get married. And that's all that there is to it. It's something that you need to realize as well. You know, one of the things that literally makes me laugh a lot is the fact that there are Christians out there like you who seem to be living in this illusion, if you will, that somehow the government or this new same sex marriage ruling is somehow going to take over your lives. It's somehow going to dictate how you live your life. And that's simply not the case. If you don't like the idea of same sex marriage, don't get married to a lesbian. If you don't want to have a lesbian friend, don't have a lesbian friend. No one is pointing a gun to your head to make you do any of these things. So naturally, I think that your behavior about this is not only ridiculous, it is immature. But you do not have the right to take away the rights from another individual because of their sexual orientation. That is ridiculous. And not only is it ridiculous, it is rather preposterous. So this whole illusion that you are living in is completely inappropriate, and it's something that falls flat. To be honest with you, I don't see how same-sex marriage is going to affect your personal life. It simply isn't going to happen at all in any way, shape, or form. You know, I find it to be extremely hilarious when I see you and many other Christians like you talk about natural laws as if they were something that you guys know a lot about, when simply that is not the case. The only thing that this really shows us is just how truly ignorant you individuals are. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just tells us that you guys need to learn a lot more about this natural planet that we live on. For instance, homosexuality can be observed in over 1,500 species on this planet. For instance, rams, Laysan albatrosses, bottlenose dolphins, bonobos, cock of the rock, which is a forest songbird, African lions, we've got waterfowl and penguins, we got western gulls, and we got giraffes, and last but not least, we got dragonflies. These are just a few of the species on this planet that naturally display homosexuality. So when you say that homosexuality isn't natural, you really need to get with the facts. You know, it really amuses me to see you mention that we will never be a United States and that we will always be divided. Well, I got news for you. We will continue to be divided if this religion of yours, this bigoted religion, if you will, is allowed to insert its influence in this country. You seem to have hostility towards the diversity in this country. You really don't like people who think differently from you. You really don't like people who have a different sexual orientation than you. And you really don't like people who have a different religion. That's plain and simple. I pretty much picked that up right away from the beginning of your video. And it really bothers me because people like this are extremely harmful in society, and here's why. When people want to share ideas or when people want to have discussions, it's absolutely impossible with people like you because all you guys want to do is basically have everybody fall in line with your way of life, and that simply isn't going to happen. You mentioned that you really don't care about the important issues within this country like marriage equality or things involving the LGBT community because I've seen you repeat it over and over again in your video. And this has only shown me one thing. People like you will continue to harm society in so many different negative ways because you don't want anybody that differs from you or your way of life to have any rights. And that's something that is really pathetic to me. You keep mentioning that people are not going to change your mind, especially when it comes to what you know in your heart that is wrong. Well, I got news for you. Your heart is completely incapable of knowing anything. It doesn't work that way. The only function that your heart has is to pump blood throughout your entire body. It's incapable of any emotion. It's incapable of thinking. It is incapable of doing anything that you are trying to tell people about. That's just simply ridiculous. You mentioned that you didn't have a problem with getting a job that you do not like so that you don't have to serve the LGBT community. And you know what? I do support you on that. Maybe you should leave your job so that other people can take that particular position and actually serve the community like they are supposed to. Because people like you do not have any business serving the community at all in any way, shape, or form. And that's how I see it. People have to do their jobs when they are serving the community, and a sexual orientation should not matter at all in any way, shape, or form. You mentioned that there are choices being made in this country that you do not like, and they are going to have serious consequences and repercussions when it comes to eternity. And this is something that I knew you would say because there are a lot of Christians that resort to this type of thing when they see something that they don't like. And it really tells me a lot about you guys. You guys literally wish that people would spend an eternity in torture simply because they want to love another individual, simply because they want to marry an individual that they love. And that's completely ridiculous to me. And this approach that is made by you and other Christians like you is rather ridiculous and immature. I just thought that I would share that with you. Now, Patriot Nurse, I did want to talk about everything that you had in your video because you seem to repeat yourself a lot. But there are going to be two more things that I wanted to talk about real quick before I end this video. And the first must be law. You seem to think that because of your position, you don't have to obey the law when it comes to serving the community. Well, I got news for you. You are going to have to serve the community whether you like it or not, or you can just find a new job if you think that this is going to be a problem. Because if you continue to have this particular position when it comes to serving the community, people are going to have the grounds to sue you for all that you have, and rightfully so, because what you are doing is going against their rights, and that's something that does not resemble civil rights at all in any way, shape, or form. Now, when it comes to cohesion, because you seem to mention that a couple of times in your video, as long as there are people out there like you in this country, there will never be cohesion at all, period. Because your idea of cohesion is control. You want to control society with this religion of yours. You want to threaten people with this eternal punishment. And that's something that is not going to work. Your idea of cohesion in this country isn't going to work at all, period. Because it's all about control with you guys. You want to control what people think about. You want to control what people do in their lives. And that's simply not going to happen. And I thought that I would share that with you and hope that you can get it through your head that that type of thing isn't going to happen at all in any way, shape, or form. So with that said, you can watch this video. Chances are that you probably won't, but just in case you do, hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from. Now, to my subscribers, please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Feel free to share this video with anyone that might be interested, whether it be on Facebook, Google+, Tumblr, Reddit, Yahoo, or wherever you guys hang out. Till next time, the Quiet Atheist is out. And remember, if you can be good at it. Most of all, thank you for watching, and I will see you next video.